Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, partnering with donors from all walks of life to improve southeastern Virginia through grants, scholarships, and leadership initiatives. Learn more at hamptonroadscf.org.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Hamley. What a difference 3 weeks makes in the race to the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris secures the votes to be the Democratic nominee. She picks a running mate and raises millions of dollars for the Harris Waltz campaign. Former President Donald Trump appears before an audience of black journalists, and his running mate, J.D. Vance, doubles down on his childless cat lady comments. Our Another View Roundtable is here, and we're going to talk about it all. Another View will be right back after this national, regional, and local news from NPR and WHRO News.
Discussing today's topics from an African-American perspective, this is Another View.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Hamley. We begin this hour with a tribute to a giant in our community. Elwood Coach Williams passed away this week. He was simply known as Coach to generations of kids, and he made a profound difference in their lives. Coach Williams served as executive director of the Colonial Boys Club and later the executive director of the Southside Boys and Girls Club. He used sports to infuse life lessons and created a safe space for kids in the Berkeley community of Norfolk. Coach mentored children from all walks of life, including the mayor of Norfolk, Dr. Kenneth Alexander. In a statement, Mayor Alexander said, quote, "I first met Elwood Coach Williams in 1972 when I joined the Southside Boys and Girls Club. He had a profoundly positive impact on lives and communities, leaving a lasting legacy as a transformational leader. Through his tireless efforts, he provided invaluable programs, services, resources, and support to countless kids and families. His remarkable work endures, living through the generations he coached, mentored, and inspired. Rest well, dear Coach. Your legacy will never fade." Funeral services for Coach Williams will be held on Saturday, August the 17th at 11 a.m. at Queen Street Baptist Church in Norfolk. The wake service is Friday, August the 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Metropolitan Funeral Home, Berkeley Chapel. On behalf of the Another View crew, I extend our sincere condolences to the Williams family and the thousands of those whose lives were touched by this caring servant. Coach Williams was 82 years old. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. So I have been waiting to talk to this group ever since Vice President Kamala Harris became the presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States, because I know that they have a lot on their minds. So let's meet them. Dawn Hester is a longtime educator, political activist, and currently serves as treasurer for the city of Norfolk. Hey, Dawn.
Hello, everybody. We have missed you listeners. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Glad you are back. And if you've ever needed a connection, Gayleen Connaughton is your go-to person. She's a political consultant, event planner, and president of the Hampton chapter of the NAACP. Gayleen, I know you got a lot to talk about today.
Ooh, yes, I'm ready. I'm fired up.
And she combines her expertise in human resources with her comedy, headlining at company retreats and conferences all over these United States. Welcome, Allison Moore. Hey.
Hey, y'all. Hey, happy to be here. You forgot to say tenderoni. I'm young.
Oh,
Tell
yeah,
the people.
that's right.
Tell
I
the people
forgot.
young. Come on.
She's tenderoni of the rest of us.
And I'm excited, like Barbara. You had excited arms, y'all. Y'all didn't see Barbara. She was so happy. So I'm happy. Let's get to this tea.
Absolutely. And we send our love and support to Dr. Alvian Lyons, who is dealing with a family emergency and is unable to join us today. But we know that we've got her in our thoughts and prayers.
Yes,
so.
yes, we miss her and the leash that she be putting on me. I ain't got no leash, y'all.
You don't have a leash this time. So before we get into the topic of the day, Dawn, you knew Coach.
Yes, I did very well. You know, just knowing him from being in the community, but then working with the Boys and Girls Club, and many of the young people that he worked with were children at Lake Taylor Middle and Lake Taylor High, where I was, and so we were connected in many ways. Absolutely. But everything he did was to make life better for children. And so I want to thank him and his wife for their sacrifices, and he's in a best place now because he has had some health challenges, you know. Yeah. But and so we're gonna make sure we take care of his wife and family that are here. But yeah, he did a lot for the city of Norfolk and this region.
That's fantastic. Good man. Yeah, he was. I had the pleasure of meeting him on several occasions, and absolutely a great person. So, a lot has happened in 3 weeks, y'all, in terms of the Democratic side and the Republican side, actually, of the race for the presidency. I want to get you all's reaction to the decision by President Biden to step aside and then endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris before we get into her actual race. So where were you, Gayleen, when it happened? Were you surprised? What were you thinking?
So know that I am a Virginia national delegate to the convention. You know, so it was a lot of back and forth, and of course, we were strong supporters, and we were on the Biden slate to be a delegate, and so it was very emotional to see, the different transformations that was coming through. But know this: he's gonna go down in history. They are riding on the coattails of the successes that this man has done in this country. He's a patriot. And he put country first. And by him stepping aside, and after all of the work that he has done for all of us in this country, this shows his character, and him passing the baton over to his vice president, who has been with him the whole time, really tells us a lot about how important this election is coming up. And so it was very emotional, but it was his decision, and it had to be his decision. And as long as we knew that it was his decision, everyone was fine with it. And by him, because if he didn't pass the baton over, I don't know what would have happened. But anyway, all I'm going to say is that he passed it over. He did the right thing. And look, we're off and running, and we are thrilled and excited. And he's right there with us.
Okay. Allison.
I was shocked. I mean, I was hyped, excited, but because you usually don't see where Black women get to work for someone else and then they really get to see the fruit of the work that they put in. Like, they be hyping us up. Baby, you go get this job. You got a chance. You don't have no chance. It don't be no chance. You do the same thing for years and years, and everybody else gets the opportunity. So it was like, oh, shoot.
So you were shocked that he actually endorsed her.
Yeah, I mean, and it happened quickly. And then the world stood up, like, I don't know, it was like, who's this third person that was like, nobody likes her? Like, that is not what the world just said. So that was really inspiring for me, even on my professional journey, Thanks for breaking that seal. And I know that thing probably, you took some shadows. You got some cuts.
We tipping-toeing in here now. Yes. All the glass get ready to break.
Dawn?
I was home, and I'm glad I was home because I cried. I did because, one, just having to watch the media, in my opinion, demean him because of his age and because of one performance. That really rattled me, because as an elected official who stands and does these debates and conversations with people, I'm like, yeah, sometimes you got a bad day. But that doesn't mean that you put me out to pasture because of one bad day. Yeah. And because of all of the greatness and goodness that he has done, knowing that he always put everybody and people above himself. But he understood and understand still people and trying to make life better for people. So, because, I was all in, Joe, whatever you do, that's
right.
what I'm going to do. And,
We with Joe.
We're going to have
Gang,
to work.
gang.
If we got to work harder, then we work harder.
Y'all was locked
But
in.
we still...
Riding with Joe, riding with Biden.
But we still have to do the same thing. So I really don't like the ageism piece also because, I'm one of those people now. So don't try to put me out the pasture because it takes me a little longer to think or it takes me a little longer to get my words out or to process something. That just means that I got a lot up here.
That
and
you got to
I got to
through.
make sure I say it so that you understand it and hear it. So I didn't like the ageism piece, but President Joe Biden has shown us the true measure of a man.
Yes. And let me just say this one thing real quick.
Sure.
He did that 1-2 punch. He sent out the press release announcing that he was going to step down, and then we were like, wait, what's going to happen next? And he came right back out, right behind it, in support
With the endorsement.
So were you surprised or shocked at the groundswell that happened so quickly? As soon as he announced that he was endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris.
Not from black women.
Yeah, they were the first ones to galvanize.
I was on that 44,000 person
Me
black
too.
woman's call at that midnight.
I tried to get on and couldn't get through.
To 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I wanted to hear from a journalist's perspective exactly what people were saying and so forth, but I literally could not get on. So
What they did was at
That's what I
10:30.
understand.
That's
They
when people
turned
started
it to a
getting back on.
webinar.
Yeah, turned
Yeah.
into a webinar and people were able to get on. And then someone had gotten hold to the president of Zoom, and Zoom expanded it. But when the founder of Moms on Demand did the white women,
Yeah,
did the white women for Harris. And they broke it with 200,000. I said to myself, "Oh, they're not gonna be fooled again."
That's
well,
right.
you know what? But that's a very good point that you bring
They're
up,
not gonna be
Galen,
fooled
and-
again. I say it wherever I go.
And I wanted to ask that because when you think back to 2016, when Hillary Clinton was running, and you look at Kamala Harris today, what's the difference? Or is there truly a difference? Because, suburban white women said back then that they weren't going to vote for Trump, and they turned around.
Yeah, but
and they did.
But we had the Me Too movement. And a lot of their husbands probably was caught up in that Me Too movement. They didn't want to lose. They didn't want to lose. It is so funny because this is like a running joke that runs through. And I hear I heard it from a white man that said it first to me. He was like, they didn't want to lose their credit cards to to Saks Fifth Avenue and all this kind of stuff. But they listened to their husbands and they went in there. The difference I see is that Roe v. Wade, the reversal. The reverse on women's health and everything. They see that they were fooled in 2016. And we took to the streets in 2017 and we said, what does democracy looks like? And we said, this is what democracy looks like. We're not waiting to say this after November 6th. We're saying it right now. And the women see that and they are coming out in large numbers, but they coming out in all these groups, but they coming out and they're raising money. I've never seen that before. They ain't just talking.
They're actually putting their money where
They're
their
putting
mouth
their money where the mouth is.
And a lot of us are putting our money.
Yes,
$20 here, $5 here, $1,000 here. Times are different from 2016 and now too. Candidates are different. Our journey has been different. We are still recovering from the pandemic. We are recovering from, price gouging with, groceries and all these things. From our mental health, we still are settled with, just tenseness on us. And so I think that's a big part, though, of the joy that has come out of it. It's like, we gonna go, we gonna get it, we gonna do it. And we didn't feel that before. It was like, okay, with Joe, we steady, we go. But with the other candidate, we knew what we were getting. And we didn't want, some people did not want that. So this just is energized, I think, is really beyond what I had ever dreamed or thought. And certainly it's coming sooner to have a woman of color, but just a woman running for president at the top of the ticket again, where we can see that she can get in. I think that's the difference.
Miss Social Media over here, Miss Allison, is that the role? Although there was social media in 2016, it's different today. Do you think? And are they utilizing it differently in terms of the campaign?
Who's they?
Meaning social media as a whole for both sides in terms of just running for president is the role of social media and how does that fit in terms of the excitement and the momentum that is happening now?
Well, yeah, I mean, in 2016, you got these 20-year-olds, these 21-year-olds, these 22-year-olds that in 2016 they couldn't vote, and this whole Gen Z group, a very important group of our population in society who held us down in the pandemic, and through some very challenging things that we went through as a society, they can vote. So yeah, it's a lot more, I'm sure, ad spend on social media, strategy around social media. And I remember seeing maybe about 6 or 7 weeks ago, because one of the people that I follow on social, I follow Amanda Seals. I follow a bunch of them for different reasons, but Amanda Seals, she's a Black woman, she's a comedian, it makes sense, right? And so I'm listening to her, and she started to point out when they were hiring for a social media manager for Kamala Harris, even before Biden stepped down. So I just, because of that, just started paying attention to like how they were talking in the language that they were using. But I think it's very different because times are different.
So what do you think about the selection of Tim Walz?
America's dad. He reminds me so much of. Look, Senator Tim Kaine, I always thought is the best messenger. You know, he's a great messenger, and Governor Walz is a great messenger too. But he got a little humor with him too. You know, he got a little swag that has too, and he's bringing back. I think this ticket is bringing back the importance of messaging. You know, for so long, you know, the Democratic Party we always say are bad with messaging. They have been on message and on point on everything that they have said. And he comes out with the message. He has a little humor with it, but he has a record. I mean, he's a teacher, veteran. You're talking coach. You know, and then his students was the one that asked him to run for office, 6-time congressman, and then he's in his second term as a governor. Come on now.
He put down his guns.
Yes. And he's a gun owner. He's a gun owner.
His rating dropped down from A to F.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, but he was a gun owner.
He is a gun owner.
He is a gun owner, but at the same time, he switched over to even going to more an importance of having sensible gun laws.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's because of a conversation that he had with his daughter.
Yeah.
So he listens. So he's listening to the younger generation
he's
also.
Listening. Yeah.
So the other side, the Republican side, obviously is going to do what it can to take pot shots and to try to discredit the Democratic side. Let's hear what former President Trump had to say at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
So she doesn't respect either one because she made a turn and became a black person.
Well, I just want to know who gave him the authority to be able to determine how someone's going to disrespect their race. Who gave him that authority? And he said that in front of black journalists. He felt entitled enough to talk about this in front of black people. You know, it just tells you about his character. You know, it's outrageous.
Anybody else? Dawn?
It was it's just who he was. So he just keeps showing us who he is.
But here's the question, y'all, because this is just another blatant but typical in the sense of the microaggressions that black people and especially black women encounter all the time. So how do black people and black women protect themselves from the trauma of this? I mean, because these are microaggressions that happen every single day.
I think, you know, I want to go back to where we were before because I want to channel my Dr. Alvian. But in regards to the protection for, like you said, it's something that we experience every day. And what I'm trying to do, I'm utilizing this opportunity to call some of my ally friends and so forth to say, let's stop ignoring this, because y'all try to act like these conversations were not happening, but this is right on TV. This is a trending topic. What do you say in response to this when this is coming out of your kitchen or at your family reunions or in a conference room with a bunch of people that look like you? Like, this is what we experience. We already know that this is what people are saying. It's just now being brought up to the forefront or the mic is on.
So because they're bringing it out even louder,
right?
But these are just conversations that are continuing.
100%. You know, last 2 years I spent time back in corporate America in an executive seat, and sometimes, depending on what I've learned, the higher you go, the more that other people ignore the color that you are. And so that's where it is, you know, insert my Dr. Alvian, but you know, that's why I need my leash, because I really want to ask her myself too. I think there's something to be said about when white people or people who are looking at someone else and try to like have bias or judgment, but they make the decision of, oh, you don't act like them. That's because of the lens that you were looking through. So to me, like they said, she went to HBCU. But Donald Trump, if you don't know anything about an HBCU, you don't understand that is a very big sign that I think I'm black. But if you're only looking at these three things because maybe your money, or I'm really not looking at you anyway, I'm only looking at your man, or, you know, you being in this room, he didn't see that she was black or forgot that she was black and has this black makes you, or this is how black people act. And then that fell over.
Well, you know, I'll never forget that one of my first jobs that I had, the vice president told me, he brought me in and he says, you know, you're doing a really good job. He said, you're not like the others.
I'm told that all the time.
And I remember, and I thought, I was 26 years old, and I thought it was a compliment, and later I learned it was an insult.
It's an insult.
It's an insult. So we all know about the the drop rule. You know, the one black drop rule. When you got one drop of black blood, you're black, right? But the bottom line is that all of us got something in us or whatever. I mean, I've got white, Irish, or whatever, a little bit of everything in there. So we all have that, but we identify as black. But she went, as you said, she went to a HBCU. She belongs to a black sorority. I mean, she was president of the Black Lawyers, Student Lawyers Association, or whatever.
She was dancing the Q-tip in them like last year on the yard.
So the bottom line is that he just doesn't know where to gauge. He's you know, like a spider. How you can stop a spider is by tapping them right in the middle, and they don't know where to go. That's like him. He just doesn't know what direction to go in. So all he needs to do is he just needs to keep talking. Let him keep talking.
If you don't know what you don't know, it comes out.
It's gonna come out.
And for those of us who have paid attention to his career, he's always been a man who has not liked people of color. You got that, honestly, because even his own family will say, well, that's what his daddy did. So if that's who you are, as black people, we can see and we can tell. But it also shows that he's not smart, because he would not have gotten on that stage and said what he said. Period. But when you are who you think you are above others, then that's when you say what you want to say. But then I just am thankful that he's just revealing himself more and more and more. So even the people who thought they were going to be on his train, they might be thinking again.
Do you think so?
I'm hoping so.
I know his consultant's probably in the background saying, no, don't say that.
I'm hoping, but they can't control him, because that's evident.
They can't.
That's why they've had 2 weeks of not doing anything.
So this is a question I asked Dr. Eric LaVille, and I've asked several people this question. I'm going to ask it to you all too. Do you truly, honestly, knowing especially how racism and sexism is running rampant in this country, is America ready for a black, South Asian, female president? For real?
I'm going to say yes.
I am too.
Only because of times and change and pain and losing loved ones over the pandemic. People are ready to, one, feel good and have hope, which is what we are
they call it the joy
experiencing
campaign
right now.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to ride that. But we also know that as this black woman, as black women know, she done worked her butt off to get here. She has been through so much stuff from people. We have these same experiences. We just not the VP, but we've all had the same experiences in building our careers. So, yes, I do think people are ready now.
Okay. Hang on one second, then I'll come to you, Gayleen. If you're just joining us, we're talking politics with the Another View Roundtable. Norfolk City Treasurer Don Hester, political consultant Gayleen Knoyton, and comedian and human resources expert Allison Moore. Are we ready?
I totally agree with Don said. Everyone is ready to move forward. They're tired of seeing what's happening with the Supreme Court. They are tired of seeing things being rolled back. Now they're seeing the economy is coming back. They're seeing the jobs are increasing. They're ready to feel good, and it's about who's going to take them to that level, and it's about the successes from this administration, this current administration. They see the successes, but they've also seen the rollback, what happened, as I say, with Roe v. Wade. And we didn't even got to the Chevron one or whatever. I mean, it's major. So many things that people haven't even paid attention to what's been happening in the Supreme Court that's really, really violating our civil rights. And so people right now are looking at the bigger picture. It's no longer, when I was at the NAACP National Convention, one thing that the national president said, it's not about the person, it's about democracy. And that's what he says. So we're not saving democracy. We are restoring democracy. That's what this election is all about. So it supersedes who's in that seat, who the nominees are. It supersedes that. They're positive, whatever. But it's about restoring democracy, and that's what everyone that I know are paying attention to, because we want to get back to where lies cannot count anymore. We want to get back to that.
Allison?
Yeah, I agree. I think shout out to all of the I don't see color people. Stand up. This your time. Don't you see no color. You ain't seen no color before today. Don't see it now. I think it's beyond color. I think people are exhausted. It's beyond sex. Female men. People are like, okay, enough is enough. Even some of the more apathetic people who I know are like in the side, like, I don't like conflict adverse people. Even them are just like, this is not good. And people who are not following policy are like, this is not good. Like, you're just aware. We don't have to be even the me's of the world, right? I skirt on some things. I'm gonna joke with y'all, and other things like, well, that is way too deep. I didn't read that. This is not okay. Donald Trump is not the answer, whether or not, in any other way. So I think that everybody is like, we are ready for not Donald Trump.
Let me play one other clip that is coming from the Republican vice presidential candidate, Mr. J.D. Vance.
Historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think J.D. is. I think that all of them would have been. But you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me.
So he even throws his own people under the bus. Don, I wish we were on TV right now so people could see your face.
But he's always done that. It is always about him. It's not about the people around him. And that's why we've been saying that it looks like a cult for those who are following him and agree with him, because it's all about him. So if you don't bow down, cow down, or whatever to me, then I don't want you. I'm gonna kick you to the curb.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for just a little bit here, because what concerns me is the whole idea, because before, I go back again to when he first ran for office, and people were saying, I don't like what he says. I don't like it when he says he's grabbing body parts and he's doing, there were all these negative things, but yet when it came down to the day of the vote, it was different. And it makes me nervous this time.
Well,
I hope.
But they coming off they came in 2016.
Right.
You came off of 8 years of Obama. Okay, 8 years of it. of all that progress. So 2016 was like a sailboat ride, really. Basically, people, you had people stayed at home. 13% of black males voted for Trump. And it's interesting now because I have these young people texting me now, and they say, we don't believe in Project 2025, right? And what I do is I send them an article. This is what I do. I send them, because these are people, some of these folks that I know that's on the streets. I send them an article where Donald Trump said, from a legitimate article, that shoplifters should be shot and drug dealers should get the death penalty. I said, now let me tell you how serious this is. Because some of them in that world. Why are they saying
that they don't believe in it?
I think some of them believe, and I've had parents text me about it and everything else, and we've been doing forums on it. Mm-hmm. I don't think they really read through it, and they think that might be just another ploy to get them to get away from Donald Trump. Many of them believe they made money. They did better off of Donald Trump. They don't understand that first stimulus check came from Congress. He just had to sign off on it, and he wrote that letter.
Well, he actually insisted that his name be on the check.
Exactly. His name be on the check.
After it was passed.
Right. After it was passed.
And then he said, but who was he? It was all about him.
It was. Right. And he said, and everybody thought it came from him, but then the rest of the checks came under Biden, right? Under President Biden. But, it's just that he spoke, when after he got got convicted of 34 counts and everything, he tried to identify himself with convicts, right? And so a lot of them was like, oh, he just like us.
Yeah, because he did. So he made a comment about black men liking him because he's just like them, a convict.
Exactly. He said it just like them. But my point is, things has changed. It's different from 2016 to this now. We've been through COVID now. We've seen the effects of COVID. And then we see how healthcare was so important from the Obama administration that it was passed because it saved lives during COVID. We lost a lot of lives because Trump was asleep at the wheel. Well, he was trying to anyway, I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, he was asleep at the wheel during COVID, but it did save lives. We look at the infrastructure bill, bringing jobs to businesses, small businesses, jobs. We look at everything. He put a black woman on the Supreme Court. He's done everything. But then at the same time, we've seen things roll back, major things roll back. Mm-hmm. And so right now, more people are in tune, and the young folks are excited. And I see all these new groups of people. You got the pets for Harris. You got the mental health specialists for Harris. Cats. And they all raising.
We had to call comics for Harris.
Yeah, you had to call comics for Harris. Mm-hmm. They are all raising money.
Did you guys raise money? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was one I hadn't heard of.
Yeah,
I was actually texting Dawn when it was going on, but I thought, for that one, like a side note, it was comics for Harris. So I was thinking, just like white women for Harris, you think majority white women come because it's showing, hey, I am a white woman. This is my community. So it was confusing because then on the thing, it looked like, oh, was this a comedy show that the public should have known about? And comedians were also giving their talent because these are some comedians. They were all giving like 3-minute. Some were giving sets and monologues and things.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So it was a nice couple hours.
So all this momentum, people are registering. The registration numbers are
700%
across the country, and all of that. What is this going to do for down ballot races going forward?
Well, I wrote down here, if she doesn't get a Congress, we can't get nothing done still.
And Senate too.
So what? Well, when I say Congress, I'm thinking House and the Senate.
Right.
Yeah, House and the Senate. You got to have that. So hopefully, I'm hoping it's going to help people to pay more attention to that down ballot. Because once again, in order for a president to sign a bill into law, it's got to pass the House and the Senate.
That's right.
So that's the teachable moment that we need to be teaching now, is that she can say this is what she wants to do, that she wants to reduce cost and reduce these things. And I should say they, because they are a team. But you can't do that unless you have a House and a Senate that is going to move legislation back and forth and agree and disagree and fix it and then get it passed.
And that's the key, is to have that debate and to have the bipartisan working so that it can pass.
Right.
And local races are important. I I like the fact that you have some of these young folks are having these cocktails and conversations. Mm-hmm. And I pop up in there and I sit there and I listen to them. They talk about sex, marriage, politics, and then they ask me to come in and speak, and I always tell them, I'm speaking with you and not at you. And then they'll always say, well, we understand that. First they'll say the White House is not in my house. I'm like, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It boils down to policy. And policy not only happens on the presidential level, not only on the state level, but on a local level as well. And it's very important that you vote from the top all the way down to the bottom of it. But you got to know the issues of your local races, mm-hmm. Your candidates. You have to know what they have done. Don't just check the box. Know what they have done, because that's just as important as the federal elections.
And then usually people vote in the federal elections more so than they vote in the state.
That's why we moved it to November. That's why we fought to move the elections to November.
So what do we do in terms of getting the vote, getting people registered, getting people to the polls? Do we need 2008 Obama numbers, wrapped around the building 5 times, waiting to get in there to vote this time in order to make this happen?
Because, I want people to early vote.
Yeah, we want everybody to early vote.
In Virginia, you early vote September 20th.
That's exactly right.
We want people to early vote. So when, your registrar opens up the office or whatever in wherever city you live where you can go vote early, go vote early. You get your absentee ballot. You send that thing back in as soon as you can. Yeah.
And in Virginia, it's important that your absentee ballot is important, because you no longer have to get a witness signature. You now have to have the last 4 digits of your social and the year of your birth on there. So that's really important. But we want everyone to vote early. And then the last day to register to vote is October the 15th. After October the 15th, you can register and vote by provisional ballot even on Election Day. And so we want to make sure that we get everyone to vote early. Then we won't have to worry about having the lines wrapped around on Election Day. We want, get it out of the way now, mm-hmm. and get it done, because we want our votes on the front end. My biggest concern is voter protection. That's my biggest concern.
On the day of, or period?
I just vote period. Voter protections, period.
Expand on that a little bit.
One of the things I'm asking everyone it's going to be very important that we have people inside the polls to monitor the ballots, to make sure that they are counted properly. And I'm saying because it's discussions to try to throw out the ballots and stuff. We had many people who worked in the ballots worked inside the polls in 2016 and 17 that quit because they were being insulted by the MAGA folks. So we need people working inside the polls. But it's going to be shenanigans going around. We're going to have, like in Pennsylvania, and you had a sheriff's race. He had his sheriff there passing out literature, and he had a gun on him, shotgun on him, right, at the same time. And you can do that because you can have a gun. Mm-hmm. on you. But it's going to be all kinds of different shenanigans. And so there's, on the NAACP side, there's a strong voter protection hotline. And on the Democratic side, there is too. And you got all kinds of other organizations and coalitions that are really coming in to do this. Now, when I was at the national convention, I talked to the president of the Bar Association, mm-hmm. and then connected them with our voter protection with NAACP on the national level, and they've done a MOU, so they'll be helping us as well. So we need attorneys to volunteer in their localities to help us with this voter protection. We need people to report if they have issues, if they see anything, if they see something going on, mm-hmm. if they see the wrong dates on when you're supposed to vote, or if they say don't vote, and then you got AI.
Yeah.
Then you got AI. That's a whole nother thing.
Allison, I'm going to ask you about that because you're on social media more than any of the rest of us. So, but seriously, what is your advice to young people in particular who are new to voting or have only voted for a couple of elections in terms of what they should look for to determine if it's real or not?
Well, actually trying to calm my distraction down right here. My ADHD kicked in because I was like, here y'all go. Y'all done talk about down votes and vote early and go. And then if you don't do by October 15th, you got to push some buttons and do some color. I said, oh my gosh, come back. Stand strong, y'all. Stand strong. We voting. We doing our part. Like, give us a time. So the advice is to just stick to voting. Okay, don't shake us off now. Wait.
Okay. So just make sure you vote first and foremost.
We go vote. And, but wait, what's your question though? Because they'll go to ADHD.
My question then was, what do they look for in terms of, because all kinds of stuff is coming at you on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's true, it's not true. There's AI, as Gayleen talked about.
Mm-hmm.
How do you advise them to determine that what they're seeing and hearing is actually correct?
Definitely vet the source. So, follow the Barbara Ham Lee's, because that's what I do. I come to your page when I see something. I'm like, I don't know if this is real great. Let me ask Barbara and
find a trusted source. Is that what you're saying?
Find a trusted source. Like the people who are actually reading the books versus those who it's 12 seconds of a clip. How realistic is it that 12 seconds really means or speaks to what they could have been talking about the whole time? Not to run with things, but I'm not really having to have those conversations. I think that people who want to know where the truth is can kind of find it, or they have enough within them to say, let me just get if you just start talking about politics yesterday,
then you may want to do some studying.
I'm just saying, you ain't been here long enough. So I'm just going to kick back and see, over time who already has been here in this space. Somebody, I look at the fruit of their life. I respect what they do. I see they're not a scammer. I trust what they say in other ways. And so I'm going to follow that. But otherwise, we just got to read our own books.
Yeah.
One thing about it historically, we've seen so many different actors that have even fooled some of the brightest people, and so that's why you can always call, and this is what the Lawyers Committee, all the civil rights organizations come together, and you can call 1-866-OUR-VOTE, which is OURVOTE, 866-OUR-VOTE, which is 866-687-8683. 186. This number you can call and ask any question you want.
Our vote.
Yeah, 866-OUR-VOTE. You can ask any question you want. If you see something or whatever you're not sure, you can call this number and you can get an answer. And this is what we need to be spreading everywhere. It's all the civil rights organizations have come together and working under this one number.
What are you having trouble? And I guess I asked you and Gayleen and Dawn, are you having trouble finding people to actually work the polls? Since it's been such a negative thing, people's lives have been threatened, etc. Is anybody
not now? Now,
okay.
I don't think not in Hampton Road. I can't speak on the western part. You would know that better than me. But no, because we have safe spaces to work, and we try to create a safe precinct for everyone to feel comfortable going in. So I don't think we've had a hard time with that.
And behind since this shift in this election, people want to vote. They want to participate. They want to be a part of this. And as everywhere I speak, I always tell the mothers and the parents, bring your kids with you. They need to be a part of this,
so they can learn the system ahead of time.
Never in my lifetime have I ever thought that I would see, when I was at the convention in 2008. When Barack Obama received the nomination, never would I have thought I would see it on August the 22nd when I see Kamala Harris get the nomination in my lifetime.
Yeah,
never. So my child was involved with me back then, and now he's calling me, giving me breaking news right now before I even get it. And he was like, "Mom, have you ever thought about this?" I said, "But this is all you know." This is all he knows.
Right. Yeah.
That is a very good point. I'm just sitting back. I'm absorbing that, because you're right. I mean, to have two people of color at the top of the ticket within our lifetime, that is remarkable.
And this generation, this is all they know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's not new for them.
Yes.
So when we got President Obama in, it was like, oh my God. And then some of us were saying, we won't see this again. And here we are.
Exactly. And here
looking
we are.
at it again.
I think right there at that point, that's messaging, right? So I think in this revelation, stop trying to talk to the Gen Z about this is so historic. They don't care about that. It's not something
for them.
Right. It's so
it's
different.
normal.
100%. It's normal. And I think that's where if we kind of like in real discussions, that's where we can really kind of hear ourselves and it be more helpful when we're trying to convince other people.
That's right.
Like these young people, because what we're saying is like, I don't understand that part of the importance. You want me to be motivated by something where the only thing, like you said, I've seen as a black president, a crazy president, and then this one. So it's all about us really continuing to have conversations with each other and listening and like, oh, that's what's important to you. So then that would be something that I would use to encourage somebody to go back and get their information.
Yeah, and I had a conversation this morning with a young man who was African American male. Well, I did say young man, didn't I? Not registered to vote. But I've known over a year that he was not registered to vote. And, I laid him out then. But this morning I came at him a different way. And he said, Miss Dawn, I can't stand the politics. It's so ugly. I said, but you're living in it every day. So why don't you try to make a change? All I'm asking you to do is register to vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for. Yeah. But if you don't vote, you're not helping your life be any better.
You're letting somebody else make a decision.
Right. Yeah. That's just this morning.
Did he change?
He said, I will consider it.
So
okay, you're making progress.
There you go.
Right.
So
you're making progress.
So look, look, we met with the barbers the other day, and one of the barbers wasn't registered to vote, and so he said he ain't never voted. And he was not a young man either.
Wow.
And so by the time we got done talking with him, he was like, okay, I'll register. Well, I had it on my phone. So I registered him right there before he left. And I said, and on September 20th, I will be at your barbershop to pick you up and take you to vote.
Oh, can you come and get me too?
Yeah.
Is that the early day?
Yeah.
Because I'm so proud of myself. I was like, I'm taking a stand. I'm going to do better. I was just a voter. And now I vote early.
So we talk about voting early and all of that, but in all seriousness, what can we do? What can we encourage people to do as far as getting people out there? I mean, because go, Allison.
In all seriousness, so I just looked up one day and realized I got a bunch of Gen Zs around me because I got 2 kids that are Gen Zs. My sister has 2 boys, Gen Z. My cousin got 2 boys. They're all, so it's like 9 of them with the friends. And they help me like selling the Black Please coffee hoodies. And so I'm like, well, y'all got to tell me if this is legal. Because if it's illegal, then I did not do it on record. But if it's legal, then I did it. So I'm like, hurry up, whoever, register to vote. I'm going to buy you a such and such. Is that legal?
No.
And that's why I didn't do it. That's exactly why I didn't do it. But I facilitated an environment where everyone was free in that moment to pull out their phones and register to vote.
Very good.
Okay.
And that's the kind of thing we need to do.
And it was 9 people who had never voted before. Give me my coins.
Right.
Hey. And the other space, and as I tell everyone, the way this election is going to be winnable is that everyone has to work within their cohorts. And multiply it by 100%. If you have a Zumba class, make it for whoever you supporting for Zumba, right? And Zumba is for whatever person. And if you're for whatever, walkers, book club, everybody should take a chapter of Project 2025 and come back and come together and then do the synopsis of it.
Oh, that's good. What about the comedy show? Give me an idea.
Yeah. You could do that too with a comedy show.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But matter of fact, I can send you some cliff notes on that too.
Okay.
But the bottom line to it is that everybody's got to work within their space, whatever they like doing. If you like gardening, if you like cooking, or whatever,
and this is
turn into it.
And we're not telling you who to vote for.
No,
we're saying, just saying register and vote. Period.
We're saying register and vote
in the
register
process.
and vote and mobilize within your cohort. Is what I'm saying. Work your street. Do postcards. Dear neighbor, I'm going to vote because. You work in your cohort and do all these different things.
But if you give them money to register, it's illegal?
You cannot.
You can't pay anybody
You
to
cannot
vote.
coerce anyone to register to vote.
Okay, that's why we don't do that.
Or to vote.
Okay. Right. You cannot do that.
Okay.
Right.
All you can do is encourage.
I wouldn't.
Yes.
And that is what you did.
And you can encourage them by telling them what's going to happen.
And it's so simple that you do it right on your phone.
I mean, they all had it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I be in the club. We be in the club talking about you register to vote. But not only is it important to register your vote.
Take me next time.
Even if you are registered, you need to go online. You can go to vote.org and check your registration to make sure your information is right. And don't check it just one time. Check it periodically all the way up to the day that you vote.
Because your address has to be correct.
Yes.
And when you show up, whenever you show up, early voting or the day of, then your ID and your address and everything has to match. So you want to make sure that they have the right information.
Because people have been dropped from the voter roll. People have been dropped from the voter roll. So even if you are registered, still check. Go to vote.org and still check.
Tell us those dates again so we can remind folks.
September 20th.
September 20th.
Writing it down,
Right.
Gen Z.
September 20th is the day is the day for early vote. We have Sunday votes coming up too. You know, Sunday in Hampton is October 13th. In Newport News is October 27th. When is it?
I don't know hours.
I know you're having it in Norfolk too, but we'll find out. But we have in various localities because it's up to the localities to vote for it or not. The electoral boards,
Right.
But Sunday votes and the last 2 Saturdays before the election is also those dates. So you can go to your local registrar's website. You can talk to your local NAACP chapters as well, not branches. I'm sorry. And it's all kinds of information is out there. You can go to the Virginia Election Board of Elections board as well and find out the information. But September 20th, everybody needs to start voting. September 20th. Start voting.
And Galen, we got
Monday
about 2
through
minutes.
Friday.
We got about 2 minutes left. What are you expecting when you go to the convention in 2 weeks?
I am so excited. Senator Locke and Senator Lucas, we're all gonna be like a little team together. We all got special shirts that we're gonna be wearing. We're gonna be wearing shirts like Ida B. Wells, Shirley Chisholm,
there you go.
and all of them. I'm Harriet Tubman, and of course. If you got something to say it to my face. Okay. But on the day that she's being nominated, I think it's really important that we wear the Shirley Chisholm shirt because she's the one that paved the way.
Right.
The first one to run for president. So we are so excited. I have a whole bunch of tissues because I know I'm going to cry. We all going to cry, but I just got to say this one thing. In 2008, when they did the nomination for, when they announced that Barack Obama was the nominee, we went to Arizona with 80,000 people. And as soon as they announced him, the whole stadium went silent for a few seconds because nobody could believe it. Wow. I'm anxious to see how it's going to happen now.
How it's going to feel.
Okay,
now somebody said something about wearing white on that day too. So you let me know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do Ida B. Wells marches, and I'm gonna tell you about that too.
On the day that she's nominated to wear white, because we could do that around the country. You can wear white wherever you are.
Okay, you guys, 30 seconds is all we have left, and so you will tell us in our September roundtable what happens at the convention.
I will,
and we will continue to encourage people. September 20th, how to vote, get registered. And thank you, ladies, as always. I really appreciate you. And audience, before I let you go, I want to tell you that the city of Newport News has been named an All-America City, and they are going to have a huge celebration coming up on Saturday, August the 17th at 4 p.m. at the City Center at Oyster Point. And this celebration marks the city's milestone achievement of being named an All-America City by the National Civic League. So they're going to have all kinds of concerts and booths and things going on for you to participate. So come on out and enjoy it. And in the evening, they're actually going to have a drone show. So I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want more information about this event, you can call 757-926-1400, or you can go online to the Newport News website. Thank you so much for that. And thank you also for spending the past hour with us. Let me ask you a question. Well, 2 questions. First, have you registered to vote? And second, have you made your plans to get to the poll? Regardless of your choices, please vote. Go to vote.gov for more information. Our theme music is an original composition created especially for Another View by Jay Sennett. Lisa Godley is our show producer. Jordan Christie is our audio engineer, and Dr. Barry Graham was on phone duty. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. They say that ignorance is bliss, but you know what? That's not true, especially in this political season. Get informed. and then go vote. We'll get together again next Thursday at noon for another view.
Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, carrying out your charitable wishes forever, whether it's helping shelter animals, feeding the homeless, enhancing the arts, or supporting students. Learn more at leaveabequest.org.